his losses a little bit later on, and he's a good natural athlete, and he feels he's got a shot, and a lot of people think he's got a chance to make an impact. And in Everton Davis, well, this is a guy who's been around for a while, again, has fought real good fighters and has posted some significant wins, so it's a step up for Banks.
So some intriguing matchups tonight coming your way from Idaho on our Heavyweight Explosion. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great night planned for you. Cedric Kushner's Heavyweight Explosion is being brought to you by Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina, and by the Coeur d'Alene Tribal Bingo Casino. Well, this crowd has been an early arriving crowd and getting ready for our first fight of the night, and it should be a good one. As Rich pointed out, a couple of fighters that have some pretty good punches and some activity that they want to kind of show off to the crowd tonight. Man that's working in the ring with us tonight, our ring announcer. Let's go upstairs here, Chuck Matheson.
Ladies and gentlemen, boxing fans, welcome to the House of Fury here at Coeur d'Alene Tribal Bingo Casino in Worley, Idaho. Tonight, Corona Extra and Coeur d'Alene Tribal Bingo Casino presents the Heavyweight Explosion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big welcome to Sam Smith, Rich Murata, and the rest of the crew from the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. Our co-featured event tonight has 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. When the bell rings, referee Tom Katsalamides will be in charge of the action. Introducing first in the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the red, green, and the yellow stripes. He weighs 220 pounds. He's originally from Jamaica, now fighting out of Huntington Beach, California. His professional record, 13 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. 9 of those wins by way of knockout. Everton Davis. Across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the black and gold trunks, he weighs in at 238.5 pounds. He's from Detroit, Michigan. His professional record, 12 wins, 2 losses, 7 of those wins by way of knockout. Derrick Banks.
Giving your instructions. This is not a low blow. I don't want any holding. I don't want any hitting after the bell. I don't want any hitting after I say break. No hitting behind the head. We understand the rules? Understand the rules here? Okay, let's have a clean fight. Let's get it.
Well, these two fighters have been introduced. Rich, let's take a look at the numbers. Certainly with Banks, the heavier of the two, but that reach advantage for Davis may pay a little dividend for him, hopefully, tonight.
That's what he's banking on, and he's always in shape. You see, he's 18.5 pounds less than Banks, and I think that weight is right on for Everton Davis. And a chiseled Everton Davis comes out again, originally from Jamaica. Derrick Banks carrying 238 pounds, slightly heavier than some of his earlier fights. Matter of fact, his last fight, he fought at 228 pounds, so 10 up from his last fight. He's in the black. Davis, with that record of 13-8, has fought excellent opposition. He has lost decisions to David Tua, Jesse Ferguson. He was stopped by Jeremy Williams, but that may have been his greatest performance ever, Sam. I was ringside for that fight that night when Davis fought Jeremy Williams. He knocked Williams down in the 4th, and he had him completely out in the 5th, out on his feet. The bell rescued Jeremy Williams that night. Williams went on to stop Davis in 9, but he made a great showing against a then very highly ranked contender. You know, Rich, he's been knocked out 4 times in his career. Interesting enough, the earliest has been the 7th round, a 9th round, an 8th round, and the 9th round you mentioned there with Jeremy Williams. So he is a guy that stays around for a long time and looking for a knockout punch of his own, which he right now has a total of 9. And one of the reasons is because he always comes prepared to fight. He always comes in great shape. Rich Murata used to have a stomach like that of Everton Davis. Well, you must have a better memory than me. Banks backpedaling, which has been pretty much his operation here in the first few moments of the first round. And now he comes back and lashes out with a couple of punches, but you can see Davis kind of
clustering behind those gloves, and a lot of those being caught on the elbows.
Interestingly enough, Davis has always considered himself a boxer type. He likes to move in the ring and compare himself to Tony Tubbs, that kind of a fighter. But he is the guy who's the aggressor and flat-footed here tonight so far. And Derrick Banks is the guy who's using some lateral movement and using all 20 feet of this ring.
Banks has been a pro. That's in the black since May of 1990. Lost his first fight, however, so he got off to a start he didn't want to get started, and since that time has lost only one other fight. And as Rich pointed out, a rather interesting stop to that fight we'll talk about before this fight is over. One of the most unusual stoppage of the fights I've heard. Davis again trying to get himself in, using the jab, and now you see hiding behind those gloves again as Banks throws leather, but it's all caught on the elbows. Still flips that jab out pretty good. The good exchanges by both fighters there.
Yeah, and Banks' body punch was a nice one right to the chest of Everton Davis. Banks, I think, could stand to lose some weight, get a little better condition. I think this 238 is a little too much for his 6'2 frame.
Davis again showing that excellent condition, doing what he needs to do. Davis is one of those guys that doesn't like to switch a little, but he's staying a conventional right-hander right now. And landed a punch on Banks, and Banks countered with one of his own. Closing seconds of round one. Guess what, folks? The feeling out process is over as we take a rest and head for the second round after this break. Well, you could kind of lock up about a 4 or 5 second period right at the end of that round. Bottle and sell that around the world. That's some great action as they both went after each other right at the end. Everton Davis that time, I thought, got off to a very good start in his first round. Rich in the fact that he really kind of took the fight to Banks, who tried to steal some of it back near the end.
Yeah, I think he's wanted to bounce back. His last fight was last March. He was stopped in that fight by Kirk Johnson, and he wanted to make a good start to this fight and not fall behind. I think he came out very strong in round one. But Banks, as you can see, was landing some good body punches. That's the right that we referred to earlier that landed to the chest. Davis was very aggressive, though, and there you see him scoring with the right hand, getting off balance a little, but it didn't cost him there.
Well, Banks is already up off of his stool. Davis will do the same gesture as the seconds are out, heading for the second round. They're set to go 10 on our co-feature tonight. Sam Smith along with Rich Morano. Glad to join you on the Henry Kushner Sports Network. Heavyweight explosion coming in from Coeur d'Alene and the Tribal Bingo Casino here in Idaho. And right now, Davis in the white, while in the black it is Banks. Davis a good solid first round.
Warning from the referee to Banks to quit talking.
Interesting. Straight left hand again thrown by Davis.
I don't think any yapping is going to slow down Everton Davis.
Well, he is a specimen, isn't he?
Yes, he is, but at times, Sam, you can be too muscle bound for this game.
Right.
You can take away, actually, from some of your power.
Kind of sneaky fast when he gets underneath.
Yeah, the speed of hand will surprise you. You take a look at his body, you think, oh, the guy must be slow and ponderous, but he's not. Those arms can move very quickly.
Davis dropping his arms out at center ring, just taking a good deep breath. So one of those punches did get in and hurt.
We mentioned the 2 losses for Banks in the 14 fights. He lost his pro debut on what was basically a hometown decision. Everyone was pretty much in agreement on that. But then his decision, in his 8th fight, he lost in a TKO in 4 rounds to a guy by the name of Ricardo Kennedy. The reason he lost that fight, he's winning the fight. He ducks down low. His eye catches on top of Kennedy's protective cup and tears open Banks' eye. It's bleeding. A cut eye on the guy's cup.
You actually try to say that with a straight face. Did you know that, Rich?
Well, I'm sure it inspired a lot of snickers and jokes around ringside, but it probably wasn't too funny to Banks at the time.
And Banks said he has heard every side of that story, too. So don't give me any more. Tough way to lose a fight, though. By the way, that cut, as a matter of fact, kept him out of the ring for a while, and they had to do some very corrective surgery to get it repaired for him to get back in the ring. But he did that September of '95, and here a long way from that date. He's won, by the way, his last 6 fights. Really, those have come by knockout, so Banks certainly back in the groove.
His last one, a decision victory over Derrick Roddy. Davis's last fight last March, he was stopped by Kirk Johnson. But before that, had a draw with Levi Billups.
Billups of course, the man that is set to fight Larry Donald. Top fighters edging into the top 10 in several of the top boxing organizations around the world.
Everton Davis had to back off after Derrick Banks spit. He had to give him spitting room there.
Well, he can't talk, so he's just trying to back him up another way here. You know, it's interesting. Davis was very much of the attacker early on. Now Banks is able to slip in and do what he does as we near the end of round 2. Both fighters to the first couple of rounds. Really kind of dictating what they want to do. Now they're finally taking total control of this fight so far. Again, Everton Davis now fighting out who can beat California. You being from Los Angeles, Rich, you know that the nice thing about being from California, you do not want for some good sparring and at least some good training out in California right now.
That's right, and on top of that, you can not only get the training in the gym, but you can do your road work. The weather's good enough for you to always be able to get out, run on the beach, that type of thing. You can get your road work in. And that's so very important as far as these fighters are concerned.
So Davis, who doesn't spend a lot of time on his stool, he's up and ready to go, and he still has about 15 more seconds before the round will get underway. While Derrick Banks takes full advantage on the far side. He was actually born in Detroit, spent a lot of time there, so you know he's seen a lot of great fighters come up, and would like to emulate them with a win. Seconds have departed, and now it's mano on mano. It's Derrick Banks in the black against Everton Davis. Round 3 of a scheduled 10-rounder. This is our co-feature tonight on the Heavyweight Explosion.
As you watch Banks move, you can see that he's naturally athletic. He's actually pretty fluid in there. Despite the extra weight that he's carrying, you can see that he can, he's very, well, his movement is very brisk, and he can bend his body into different angles. Davis is more stand up and stiffer.
By the way, if Banks does indeed go the distance, this will be the second time he's been able to do so. Here's a good one.
That hurt Davis. Banks wasn't sure about it at first, but then when he saw Davis step back and get a look in his eye, Banks went after him.
Like a driver coming up to an intersection, and as the guy turned yellow, is going to stay green. Well, he said it was going to stay green, and here he came. Davis is trying to counter another good left hand by Banks.
It was the right hand that got Davis in trouble.
Now warning from the referee to keep that head up for Banks, which after the story we just alluded to would probably be enough of a caution for him to do so. Davis is now in a little trouble here. He knows it too. He's really trying to fight cautiously against Banks. And now he turns the tables on him again. So much what heavyweight fighting is all about, Rich, and the fact that you've got a fighter looks like he's almost out. Boom, one punch and you're almost right back in it.
And Davis has the ability to turn this around with one punch, although I think he is still in a little bit of difficulty at this time.
Both these fighters, interesting, turned pro in 1990, so they are now entering their 8th year of professional boxing. 13-8-1 for Davis, 12-2 for Banks. Again, warning Banks, keeping that head up. Looking left jab there by Davis.
Davis is going to need to get that jab to work here, I think. If Banks is walking through him, Davis is standing back and not doing much. He's got to pump that jab.
Davis, as we have seen as the progression of the round, starting to drop ever so slowly down to his waist. That may open up for a shot over the top here by Banks. He's been content to go upstairs and downstairs and mostly just charge on Davis.
Well, you know, Davis was very active in round number 1. His energy level seemed to drop in round 2, and obviously his punch out was dropping off below either of those 2 rounds here in number 4.
Davis coming with a 4-punch combination, a couple of them getting through. Banks is trying to laugh them off, but one of them did score a bit. As again, the 2 fighters set to go 10 tonight on our co-feature on the Heavyweight Explosion.
Bring it back down to boxing, baby. Bring it back down to boxing, okay?
What we're seeing on the Explosion, our co-feature tonight. And Rich, that's one of the things, and thanks for joining us, by the way. First time we've had a chance to work together on the Explosion. Nice thing about it, Cedric Kushner is trying to bring those who are on their way up and those who may be on their way down, the journeymen, the opponents, and those guys that maybe even have a shot like Larry Donald at a world title somewhere along the way.
Yeah, and it's great to see the reaction that you're getting from the fans to this series and to this show here in particular tonight. They have packed this place. I hear the fans are very enthusiastic. Of course, fans traditionally love heavyweights. Look at that right by Banks. Now see how he stood back? He kind of waited to see what was going on with Davis and then realized that he took a rush at him.
You know, that's an interesting scenario about the popularity of the heavyweights, because you see in the lighter weights, the guys really just work their tails off, but this is the one a lot of people come to see and pay the big bucks, and they have again tonight. Cedric Kushner Sports Network joins you tonight from Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. As we greet you on the Heavyweight Explosion, Sam Smith along with Rich Morano working with us out of the Los Angeles area. Rich and I have watched through 3 rounds as we head for round number 4. Davis again, a good solid first round. Banks again coasted a bit after trying to challenge at the end of the round in 2. Took a little time off in the 3rd, and let's see what it equates in round number 4 now.
And again, Banks was chattering away at Davis at the end of the round and drew the 2nd warning from the referee.
What's your thoughts on that, Rich?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I don't see what the point of it is. And again, that's a 3rd warning now. No talking, he says, to Derrick Banks.
I'll tell you what, he must be a ventriloquist, because I have not seen his lips move that much to bring this kind of harassment from the referee here. But he must be saying something either under his breath, certainly that the referee can hear here. Mr. Castellanos is wants to be in charge here. And now Banks is trying to be quiet as a church mouse, but still trying to throw some thunder. Davis in all kinds of trouble back in the 3rd round right above us. Davis was able to spin into the ropes, kind of clinch for a while, and got his senses about him again.
Yeah, but he's letting himself be out-jabbed by Banks, and that's not good for him.
Also that 4-inch reach advantage that Davis supposedly on the measuring stick anyway possesses.
That's right, because if Banks could reach him with jabs, then it's going to be doubly tough for Everton Davis. Davis is not taking advantage of his own left hand. He's standing there posing, watching, not throwing it, and then when he throws a punch like that, see, there's no setup with a jab. It's just a lunging left hook and easily avoided.
Billy Gonzalez working over the corner of Banks. Really up, trying to encourage his fighter to try to come at him a little bit more. Davis, of course, will be obliging. He'll be there. You don't have to look for it. And Banks accommodates. Both of them knocking each other off balance.
Banks continues to circle to the left. Not dancing, but his movement is constantly to the left. And Davis following him around and is having trouble reaching Banks on the head. So he may want to shift that attack to the body, Sam, because he's having trouble hitting the guy in the head. And that ample body of Banks produces quite a target.
It does indeed. So Davis trying to duck underneath that time, and now Banks is claiming they clashed heads, which is being acknowledged by the referee, but of course both of them got the same damage. Fortunately, nothing at the moment. Davis setting down and a couple of looping punches there. And gets off in this crowd here as they finish the round again with a good flurry. Looks like you push a button all of a sudden. And here they come at you. As those little pink bunnies just keep coming and coming and coming, and they did there. And again, Davis, boy, he just kind of lit up with a couple of pretty good exchanges there at the end of the round, Rick.
Well, I think he needed a wake-up call. And then Davis started to come alive, Sam, and then all of a sudden Banks realized, hey, I'm in a fight here. And then he decided to answer back. But I think he wasted a lot of time in the round. Now, they did clash heads here. You can see it. That is a rather violent collision of heads, in fact. Good, you got a good look at it there. Davis was really pouring it on near the end of the round, throwing a lot of punches, missing with most of them, to be honest, and then Banks tried to answer back. Banks may not have done enough, though, in the round to earn the points.
Good look at Davis. He, by the way, well, I think he sold that stool. He hasn't used it throughout the fight other than the first round. He's been up and off of it. Derrick Banks now clears his stool, and they're ready to head for the next round, round 5. set to fight 10 rounds tonight here on the heavyweight explosion. With his back to you is Everton Davis, originally from Jamaica, now fighting out of Huntington Beach, California. And Derrick Banks from Detroit, Michigan. And Banks is still talking, but still a little bit under his breath again. A very stern warning from the referee back in the 4th round.
Davis is missing with most of his shots, but at least he's doing something, and Banks is not.
Banks is one of those guys, Rich, it almost looks as if he kind of goes in and out of focus. You know, it's like all of a sudden he's standing in front of you, the next time he's looking around the crowd trying to figure out what he's going to do next. Davis on the other side has that glare and stare that he's trying to pick a point to hit. Banks does a good job of double jabbing his way in there.
Derrick Banks has never weighed this much for a fight, Sam, and I think if this does get into the later rounds, that could really cost him. You know, he fought his professional debut at 184 pounds.
Oh my, that was a person ago, wasn't it? Davis again still trying to find it. Banks threw one, but it was blocked. I'll tell you what, I still marvel at the way Banks, when he gets inside, how quickly he throws punches. Again, as we both have alluded to, at 238, you would think he'd be a little lumbering in there, but he's not. Charlie Duggar also working that corner with Banks. And now he's apparently talking again, is Banks. We may have to mic the fighters.
Well, he hasn't been talking loud enough really for us to get a handle on what he's saying.
That's 2 points. Banks trying to get his trunks back ready to go as we head to the final 45 seconds of round number 5. Banks. Davis trying to recover himself here.
Banks fighting only in spurts in this round.
Davis at 32, Banks at 26. The 2 fighters turned pro at the same time in 1990.
There you go.
Still trying to play some counter punching here. Davis away as they close the end of round 5.
Strong, Ed. Come on, Everton, you will. Move in.
It's a little difficult to kind of forecast what's going on in those corners as far as what real strategy they're changing. But it's almost to the point that Davis is kind of like saying, okay, what do I do to get to this guy and really do some damage early on? Because once he gets inside of him, Banks really is able to counter and do much more than Davis is.
Yeah, it appears as though Banks might actually be the better guy inside. I wouldn't have thought that, but that's the way that it is working out. I think in the case of Davis, he really needs to utilize his jab here to start working to try to get Banks off balance if he can and throw him off. There you see Banks actually out-jabbing Everton Davis, the man with the considerable reach advantage. And the reason he's out-jabbing him is because Everton Davis just is not jabbing.
Well, that up jab from underneath by Banks paid dividends in round 5. The bell sounds and we're headed for the 6th round of a scheduled 10-rounder, the co-feature tonight on our main event. Coming up, Larry Donald fighting Levi Billups here on the heavyweight explosion from Idaho tonight. Right now, Everton Davis in the white, and it is back to you against Derrick Banks in the black.
I've got it 48-47 for Derrick Banks so far, 3 rounds to 2 for Banks.
It's a tough fight to score, Rich.
Yeah, I think there have been a couple of real close rounds. But Banks, in my opinion, won the second, the second and the third, and I think he won that last round.
Take problems here. They're going to have to stop the time and bring over to get that squared away here by Davis. Banks, meanwhile, milling around.
But Banks just took a big, deep
back on
breath over in this corner. Just sucking in some air.
Referee, as a matter of fact, little derelict in his duties there. He did not send him to the neutral corner. He just backed him away. Banks was able to go to his own corner and get some last-second instruction from Coach McGregor over there. Davis slips an uppercut up underneath on Banks. Davis still trying to get off first here. Banks throws that couple of combinations.
When he throws the counter right, and I think it takes some of the power away from it when that happens. Davis is trying to use his jab a little bit more. The problem for him is that Banks' jab is quicker. And when they throw the jab at the same time, Banks is the one that gets them.
Yes, and he also has a punch behind him, which Davis does not. Davis uppercutting to the body that time as they clash.
That was a nice little shot, Sam. I would utilize that a little bit more. Especially when Banks lunges in at him, comes in at him and rushes him sometimes. Bring that right hand up from underneath.
For the quickness of Banks, and we've been kind of chatting about that for almost the whole fight. If Davis could almost anticipate that little charge by Banks, a sidestep one way or the other, I think he'd have a pretty good shot going in on Banks. If cows had wings, they could fly, I know, but Banks, nonetheless, if he starts telegraphing that move, Davis, with a little sidestep, a little more angles, could probably do some damage here. That may be his only hope because Banks continues to tattoo on him inside.
We're going to have to see, though, if Banks can carry his energy level the full 10 rounds.
That's it.
Doubts about that. If Davis mounts any kind of a body arsenal, I think he could really slow Banks down. Banks does not look in the best of shape. We mentioned at 238 is the heaviest he's ever been in his career. And he's got to show up well in the fight. If he's able to take it down in the fight, he's going to have respect for the sport, respect for what we're going in there to do.
Closing seconds as they've already ticked it down. And we head for the end of round number 6. Rich, are you a little surprised that maybe Davis is not?
That was the first time that he won, okay? You got to tell him how to step it up.
No, I am surprised, but I think it's basically because Everton is a head hunter. So he's fighting the way that he normally does. And he probably just doesn't have a real concerted body attack as part of his game plan. But I think he should adjust at this point. As football coaches make adjustments at halftime, we've passed the halfway point of this fight. I think it's time for Everton Davis to adjust.
Fortunate part is neither fighter has had to win this game. As we watch some of the action here from round number 6.
There's Davis throwing the jab, but you see Banks answers back with 4 jabs of his own after the one that Davis threw. And they're quick, and he had Davis back in.
He did indeed. Davis always trying to find the jab to get himself in, and Banks backs him right back up. Both fighters anxious to get underway here as we head for round number 7, the scheduled 10-rounder. Davis not using his tool almost throughout the last 4, 5, 6 rounds, while Banks spends a lot of time, but he was up quickly this time off the bench. And was ready to go into center ring.
Even though Davis has been stopped on a couple of occasions, as Sam mentioned, it's always been late. It's always been by guys who can punch pretty good, like Tim Witherspoon and Jeremy Williams. And he has gone the distance with David Tua, who's a major league puncher, believe me. I think Davis,
As a matter of fact, back in a pretty good time for Alex Garcia in 1993. He lost in 10. Also lost in 10 to Jesse Ferguson at a little better moments of his career as well.
Jesse just keeps rolling on.
Yes, indeed. Just never goes away.
Into his 40s.
Well, he's got his idol. I guess he's got a picture of George Foreman up in his refrigerator. Davis again. Being cautious on the outside. Banks just waiting for him to do something. That's where he's been so good. Really countering.
Get with them, man.
And throwing some very, very solid punches.
Let's go, guys. Pick it up.
Fighters are nervously slowing down now here in the second.
Second left hook. Made Banks go to the 2-step.
Actually, a kick over the top. He was starting with the right hand on the way out. have seen that from Davis.
Right, and when you throw it like that, the way that he threw that one, you are really leaving yourself open to a counter blow.
Davis again missing that shot on the top, and Banks, as we already alluded, got into trouble ducking under a punch before, and he does it again there. He's got to time that pretty good as Banks was walking in on him.
Still, he looks a little stiff sometimes when he throws his punches, which may be a result of all those muscles that he's got.
You made a great point in the first round, and I think it's worth taking. We have seen throughout this fight.
It reminds you of a fighter maybe who learned how to fight out of a book rather than being a natural athlete, which we talked about with Derrick Banks. Case he is naturally athletic. Fighters like Frank Bruno, Steph Davis, that same type of thing.
Another one of those rounds that probably will be
Accommodations on the side.
I still gave the edge to Banks in that round. His punches were the cleaner punches.
Davis, you see, still standing here. 32 years of age, 6'2", 220 when he came to the fight tonight. Keep in mind, these were weights of the weigh-in of last night. These fighters have had an opportunity here in the area to enjoy themselves and probably picked up 10, 15 pounds on some of these guys, and at a most, maybe 5 or 6 to the others. And again, see Banks working inside there again.
Yeah, and he throws, when he comes inside like that, he usually throws more than just one punch. He throws 2 or 3, make sure that one gets there. You said Davis had a little power there. That right hand landed on the arm of Banks, and yet it forced Banks to give ground anyway.
They're trying to keep him cool down here, but can he go the rest of the way? That's the question. Brings the fighters to the center of the ring here on the heavyweight explosion. Sam Smith along with Rich Murata working with us tonight out of Los Angeles. We're in Idaho tonight with the explosion, bringing you 2 heavyweights. Everton Davis in the white and Derrick Banks in the black. Banks now going into the 8th round. Maybe a little bit of control on the scorecard. Davis still trying to find a way to get inside and work on Banks.
He just hasn't made Banks work hard enough yet to really wear him down. You know, his pressure has not been relentless. Everton kind of shuffles forward, and Banks, when he gets his movement circling to the left, Everton just a lot of times follows him around. He doesn't put real strong, hard, relentless pressure on. One punch at a time doesn't usually get it done.
Good straight right hand by Banks again and on Davis. Davis trying to come back, and you know, the one thing that really takes away from Davis is even having kind of an opportunity to fight is the way that Banks does duck under his arm. I mean, he literally just ducks right under, and of course Davis has to back out after the clinch. Nice and thrown by Banks again. Banks again has been 10 rounds only once. Ended up winning that fight. Fury Estrado. That was fought over in England. Wow, right here, and Davis lands one inside.
Yeah, Davis got one to the body home finally, and that one had all his power behind it.
Keep digging him.
Banks had kind of hung himself at the dry on that one, didn't he, Rich?
Come on, Ed, don't wait. Don't wait, Ed. Don't wait.
And Davis, quick punches inside. Like that Banks, Davis tries to counter. It's weird now, Banks is kind of a loosey-goosey type approach to everything. After he gets a hit, he kind of bounces around. Tries to regather himself that way.
I think he tries to find, when he does get hit, he does get a little bit shaken. I think what he tries to do immediately, Sam, is to regain his rhythm. And he can do that basically by getting up on the toes, bouncing a little, maybe working the jab a little bit, just getting himself back together, getting himself back to boxing basics.
6 round 4, apparently he's kept his mouth shut because no longer is he drawing warnings on the referee as he did almost continuously through the first 4 or 5 rounds. Davis getting a little break. As they look like they're starting to heat up and get ready to go to the 9th round. of the stories that's coming out of
Let's hear it for these
Mike Tyson's
guys.
story
Everton
coming out of
Davis and Derrick Banks.
things about maybe wanting to break, of course, with Don King, but not a lot has come out about that yet, has it?
Well, nothing's being admitted if that is indeed the case, other than the fact that Tyson has issued a statement in which he has said that he is taking control of his own affairs and that he has hired new attorneys and accountants who will report directly to him. There's rumors rampant all over the place, of course. King apparently had some kind of violent confrontation outside a hotel in Los Angeles not long ago. So it remains to be seen. Tyson is under contract, of course. Who believes he will serve his best interest if he did rid himself of some of the people that are around him?
Davis again up off his stool. Of course, all of them talking about what will happen if Tyson does come back. What's going to happen if indeed he is allowed to come back. That's what makes this heavyweight division such an interesting tournament right now. Well, the bell sounds and they're ready to go for the 9th round. Sam Smith along with Rich Morano tonight here working from Coeur d'Alene. And one of the things about Rich working at ringside with us, a little webpage that can pick up some boxing news from you, Rich.
Yes, thanks for that, Sam. I appreciate the plug, but the website address is kfi640.com, www.kfi640.com. I write a boxing column for our radio station in Los Angeles. If you want to hear these pearls of wisdom, or read them anyway, you can get that on our website.
Good stuff. Enjoyed reading that myself today. We're in the 9th round again. Banks with his back to you. Davis is still trying to use that left hand. See, he's trying to cut Banks off of him here in the 9th. There's some body work by Banks. Davis timing with one left hand on the way out, and then number of punches by Banks. Certainly more than double and tripling that of Davis right now.
Banks getting bolder here in round number 9. How do you feel that he's taken Davis' best shots now, Sam, and he can really go for it?
Always that key word a lot of times that you hear from the corners, and that is, yeah, you may have advantage of him, but you've got to use patience. You've got to work him into a problem more than just hoping it's there.
Still, Davis continues to just follow Banks around the ring. Really never has cut him off. Banks has been able to circle what he wants.
Well, we got to give Banks a little credit here. He's still bouncing on his toe here in the 9th round. So
I'm surprised at that, Sam.
yeah, at 238, we almost surmise that might be a problem for him later on. I think only the fighter knows if that's a plus or a minus. The trainers can tell you that all day long, but I guess the fighter's the only guy that really knows that. Davis has had that same look on his face throughout the entire fight, hoping to find a way to get on Banks. He's been there a couple of times, but just hasn't been able to do much with it.
Well, usually he has some moments in every round, but Banks has been picking his spots and fights in spurts, and his combinations are the flashier.
Well, they're encouraging Banks from his corner to keep coming out on him. Once Davis comes in, go after him, they say. They see him ducking under that arm of Davis again, not allowing Everton to do much with it.
Everton has not had a high accuracy rating here tonight.
So it appears they'll head for the final 3 minutes of this fight on the heavyweight explosion from Idaho. Well, both fighters will head to the corner. Rich, you, of course, have Banks ahead on the scorecard. Davis, however, we have not seen any kind of punches that could kind of turn this thing around. Of course, he's getting some difference. Still standing in his own corner, getting ready to come out for the 10th round.
And it's been too much, in my opinion, Sam, of one punch at a time for Everton. He's tried to turn things around with one punch at a time. When Banks is throwing 3, 4, 5 punches at a time, it's difficult to overcome that amount of volume of punches.
Not everything has to be hard.
I think he's got to make something very dramatic happen in this round.
When he backs up,
Everton Davis has been training with Jesse Reed, who is not here tonight. Jeffrey Ford, his manager. Steve Monasteri, by the way, the manager of Banks across the way. And Billy Gonzalez is the trainer, but Chuck McGregor is working most inside the ropes with him tonight as we get ready for the final round.
You ready, baby?
The main event is just around the corner as we finish our co-feature, and they touch glass for the final round. Everton Davis on the right in the white. Derrick Banks in the black. As Banks again in control of the scorecard unofficially here at ringside. Crowd, as you can hear in the background, wanting something to happen in this round.
And I think Everton Davis is going to come out and try to make something happen right now. Landed a pretty good blow there to get things going.
Perfect example that Davis is able to finish a 1-2 combination and add something to it without Banks ducking under his arm. He was able to score early on in that first round. Banks comes right back with one of his own. Surprising that late able to go strong here through 9 rounds and now a minute deep into the 10th. Davis, I don't think there was any question he'd be able to go this way.
Davis has waited until this round, however, to get real busy. He was fairly busy in the first round, but then that energy level seemed to drop off.
You know, Rich, the minute I ask this question, it's going to probably turn out to be a knockout here, but does Banks possess a punch that can knock Davis out? Have we seen one so far tonight?
Well, I would say possibly. But he did hurt him on one occasion here tonight. And just being this late in the fight, I think if he still possesses some power, he looks still pretty fresh and strong. That could probably happen. But again, as we mentioned, Everton takes a pretty good shot.
Let's go, Everton. Come on, Everton, get on. Let's go.
Only 26 years. This was his pro debut and then a technical knockout. He got a cut that stopped the fight against Ricardo Kennedy back in September of '95. Since that time, it's been all uphill and green lights for him. 6 straight wins, 3 of them by knockout, and on his way to a possible decision win over Davis tonight. Thanks again. We call him a natural athlete. You might look at him and say, man, well, he's certainly possesses that skill. Great quickness when he gets inside. Has taken some good punches from Davis.
Still up on his toes and dancing. He's just very fluid.
They're still cheering for something to happen one way or the other. They really don't care which way it goes. Behind the scenes saying somebody hit somebody. He's just trying to stay out of trouble to finish off the fight. And there's the bell to end our fight tonight in the co-feature. Davis going one way. Good look at Derrick Banks. He's now saying, hey, give me some water right now, as Davis goes the other way, and he has the same request. It was a fight that had its up and downs, Rich. It was almost a situation where you saw the fighters going from one side to the other. You saw one fighter take advantage for about a 15, 20-second period, and all of a sudden, boom, it came back the other way. It was a fight that also saw Davis come out strong in the first couple of rounds. Banks almost seemed to be coasting through rounds 3, 4, and then 5, even though he scored well in the 4th round. You may recall he had Davis in some trouble right above us on the ropes. Was not able to finish up. Another opportunity came for him early in the 3rd. Remember when he hit Davis? Clocked him pretty good with the right hand and then backed away, almost to say, well, did that hurt him? It did. And then by the time he got back in on top of him, Davis was able to clinch and keep Banks off the top of him for any more damage. So Banks might have thrown away a couple of opportunities in this fight to put Davis away, who had traditionally fallen late against Jeremy Williams in the 9th, Tim Witherspoon in the 7th, Tom Gilsby back in his early part of his career in the 9th, and most recently to Kurt Johnson in the 9th round as well. So again, he did not fall tonight, and Banks was not able to find the punch to put him away. Banks is potentially looking for a 13th win against only 2 losses. Did not get his 8th knockout of his career, nor did Davis get his 10th. But the crowd has watched on as both of these fighters have ebbed and flowed throughout the entire fight. Davis at 32 years of age, and of course now with a 13-8-1 record waiting for the decision, while Banks at only 26 waits for the decision on that 12-2-0 record so far. Rich Murata, by the way, will be up in the ring to talk to the winner of this fight as they collect the cards on the scorekeepers across the way. Don't forget, coming up is our main event, and it should be a dandy tonight. As again, Larry Donald, who has climbed his way all the way up in the top 10 of several of the top ranking bodies, will be fighting Levi Billups. Billups, a former National Football League linebacker for the San Diego Chargers. He comes in at 37 years of age, but still, even though it's 21-15-12, a record for Billups, he still could be the spoiler for Donald, who's climbed to the top and has to be careful against Billups in our main event of the heavyweight explosion here tonight at Coeur d'Alene. By the way, we also are understanding that these folks here in Coeur d'Alene are also in the process of making arrangements with Cedric Kushner and his organization to bring our heavyweight explosion back for several more appearances before the year is all over. I think you can tell why the crowd almost standing room on all sides of the rink as they have watched on and watched what's happened here for the fight. The cards have been collected, the scores have been tabulated, and we're close to the decision now to see who comes up with the win. Is it going to be Derrick?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Mike Crane scores the fight 100-92. Judge Ray Kerwick scores the fight 95-95. Judge Dan Vassar scores the fight 97-93. The winner, Derrick Bay.